Hi, I'm Dr. Holly LaFerrier, and I teach microbiology and genetics classes at BSU. I'd like to provide some information on the biology of SARS-CoV-2 and viruses in general. SARS-CoV-2 is the virus that causes the disease COVID-19. As are all viruses, SARS-CoV-2 is an obligate intracellular parasite, meaning that they are completely reliant on the ability to infect living host cells for the production of more viruses. Viruses are not alive. They can't move on their own, they can't metabolize on their own, or replicate on their own. They are very small and can only normally be visualized using an electron microscope. SARS-CoV-2 is a member of a family of viruses called Coronaviridae that have shared characteristics, including a characteristic morphology that may be observed using electron microscopy. When visualized, structures called spikes are observed all around the periphery of the virus, and it's thought to look like a halo or a crown around the virus. This is where the corona name comes from, based on its resemblance to the solar corona. Other shared characteristics in this family include a linear, positive sense, single-stranded RNA genome that is relatively large. This large genome allows for recombination to occur more readily and alterations to occur in the viral genome, leading to diversity in genomic structure. RNA is used as the hereditary material only in certain viruses and other infectious particles, not in living cells. Anything that is alive will have a DNA genome. The genetic material, the RNA, is covered by a protein coat called a capsid that is in the helical form in many coronaviruses and described as pleomorphic in others. In the cross-section diagram of a coronavirus that is seen here, we can see the nucleocapsid. And so this is the capsid associated with that RNA genome. Outside of the nucleocapsid is an envelope that has spikes incorporated into it. These spikes are also visible. That's what we're seeing with that halo, that crown around the viruses in the electron micrograph. Those spikes are important for attachment to host cells. There are many types of coronaviruses that infect different types of birds and animals, including bats. There have actually been over 500 different types and strains of coronaviruses that infect bats that have been identified. There are 7 types of coronaviruses known to infect humans and cause respiratory tract infections. These include 4 types that cause about 15% of cold-like symptom-producing infections that circulate in human populations, making these coronaviruses some of the viruses that cause a common cold. The other 3 types of coronaviruses that infect humans have been associated with viral outbreaks. The first being the SARS outbreak in 2002, followed by the MERS outbreak in 2012, and now the SARS-CoV-2 outbreak that began in 2019. Where did these human coronaviruses come from? All 7 have zoonotic origin, or have come from animals. Based on genomic sequencing evidence, it appears that the coronaviruses that infect humans were originally bat viruses or rodent viruses that have mutated and been transmitted to an intermediate host that ultimately transmitted a modified virus to humans. For SARS-CoV-2, we do not yet know what the intermediate host is, but there is speculation. We do have evidence that the natural host, the original host, was a bat. SARS-CoV-2 is the causative agent, the virus behind the disease COVID-19. This virus infects cells of the respiratory tract and causes symptoms 2 to 14 days after exposure. The level of symptom severity can at least in part depend on which level of the respiratory tract they infect, the upper respiratory tract, the lower, or both. The lower respiratory tract is more susceptible to damage, and those infections are generally more deadly. COVID-19 is often severe, but in about 80% of cases, the disease may be undetectable or mild. Signs and symptoms of the disease include fever, cough, shortness of breath, runny nose, aches and pains, and loss of taste or smell. Sore throat, vomiting, and diarrhea have also been reported. Infections may lead to pneumonia, severe acute respiratory syndrome, and even death. The most severe symptoms are often associated with individuals who are otherwise immunocompromised, including older adults. SARS-CoV-2 infects cells of the respiratory tract by first attaching to receptors on the surface of the susceptible host cell. This is a key event in viral specificity. SARS-CoV-2 binds only to cells with specific receptors present on the host cell membrane. For that reason, they can only infect certain cell types like those of the respiratory tract. Once attached, the virus then penetrates the host cell, releasing its single-stranded RNA genome into the cytoplasm. The RNA genome is then used as a blueprint to make the components required for the formation of new viral particles. This includes replicating the genome and producing viral proteins. The virus uses the host cell's proteins, ribosomes, energy, and produces the necessary viral components. These components are then assembled into a complete virus particle that can exit from the host cell. The complete virions may then infect other susceptible host cells in the respiratory tract, or they may be released in a cough, a sneeze, or while talking via release of respiratory droplets. These virions can't move on their own. They have no means of locomotion. They must be transmitted by us, and they may remain active on surfaces for hours to days. The pandemic caused by SARS-CoV-2 is ongoing, and for the most up-to-date and accurate information, the CDC website is an excellent resource. It is important that we help prevent the spread of this infection and realize that many people that are infected and could transmit the virus do not have visible signs of the disease. Things we can do to help slow the spread include that if possible, stay home, make sure to wash your hands often, social distance, cover your cough, wear a mask when out, and practice good hygiene. If you would like any other general information about viruses or would like to discuss SARS-CoV-2, please feel free to contact me.